Do you ever notice how some people seem to do better than everybody else in whatever they're given, whatever task, whatever business, whatever endeavor they pick up in life, they tend to smash it and then tend to get ahead of everybody else real quick? Well, I used to think about this a lot, and I started realizing that all the people I was seeing who were way above everybody else had a lot of similar patterns, and these patterns could be qualified into habits. Now, I wish I'd been taught these habits way back in life, so it would have given me a step above. I had to learn them the hard way, but I'm making sure I teach them to my clients and even my children. So in today's video, I'd share with you the 5 millionaire habits that have absolutely changed my life. Hey guys, my name's Yahya, founder and creator of Record Breaker, where I help you shatter past your highest revenue record months in the shortest amount of time. And the first habit is being proactive instead of reactive in every single thing we do. Now, what this means is essentially being ahead of the curve, being a couple of steps ahead everybody and anybody who's with you in a job role, in a project, in a team, or anything along those lines. It's reading up in advance. It's having answers to questions that haven't even been asked yet. Essentially, what this does is it transforms a person from problem-based thinking to solution-based thinking. And so for me, this happened to be more of a personality type, because I used to be classic type A, got to get everything right, got to be ahead of the curve, got to watch out for everything. But the good thing about this, and the way it showed up and the way it helped me in my career, literally propel past a lot of people, was I started becoming an asset to any team I was deployed on, because I wouldn't go to them with a problem and be like, hey boss, we have this problem, what do you want me to do about it? I'd go to them and be like, hey boss, we're having this problem and we can do this, or this about it. Which one would you like me to do? And so what I did was I took the responsibility off of their shoulders of coming up with a solution, and I put it on my shoulders. Now, the way it worked for me was it gave me a lot more experience. It gave me a lot more responsibility. I was doing and taking on tasks that I didn't need to. The way it helped me in my career is that I became indispensable for my bosses, and they gave me more responsibility. They put me on an accelerated career path, and I was promoted a lot quicker than a lot of my contemporaries and my peers. So it's a win-win in terms of it helps the people on my team feel good about me and feel good about themselves and achieve their targets. And it's a win for me because it helps me move faster in whatever it is I'm doing. And so even today, when I'm running my own businesses, I'm thinking ahead of what everybody else is thinking. I'm learning ahead of everybody else. I'm anticipating certain things and what I can do to fix them. So what this does is I do not react. Instead, I respond, and I choose whether I need to respond or not. And so it gives a lot of autonomy and independence to us to be more solution-oriented than problem-oriented. The next habit is being decisive, taking a timely decision. Because whether we like it or not, all decisions in our lives, at least the major ones, are time sensitive. The implication for this is having the ability to take a decision even if it's wrong, so that you don't miss out on an opportunity that has presented itself. And here's the concept of opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the cost of not doing something. It's what you would rather be doing. So for example, if you're sitting and watching Netflix or scrolling social media, the opportunity cost of that 1 hour you spend social media is what you could have been doing that would have been helping you in your life. That's what you missed out. And so when we start thinking in terms of opportunity cost, we auto-regulate and automatically optimize our entire thinking, our entire schedule to be doing things that add the highest amount of value to us as individuals, to our businesses, to our families, to our lives. Now, on the other hand, if a person is indecisive, their opportunity cost is the cost of not jumping in on something, the cost of not taking action. And so while we all want to take the best decision possible, the reality of life is there is no best decision. You take a decision and then you work your hardest to make it the best decision for you. Now, the golden rule that most people don't think of is not taking a decision is taking a decision, because every decision is time sensitive. Every opportunity is time sensitive. And so if you don't jump in when you're supposed to, you miss out on the boat. And there's only so many opportunities that come your way. So I used to be someone who would suffer from paralysis through analysis, and I'd want everything in place, and I'd want it to be perfect, and I wanted guarantees about my decisions. I want certainty of outcome. And then I realized that in life, there is no certainty of outcome. But the The only certain thing is that if you don't jump on an opportunity, you're going to miss it. And so a real life example of this is a lot of times I will speak to people, prospects who connected with me years ago, and they decided not to invest in themselves, not to sort of work on their business. Maybe they were putting other things on priority. Maybe they wanted to get more money together. Maybe they wanted to be more comfortable. Maybe they wanted everything aligned before they worked on their thing. And I connect with them years later, 2 years, 3 years, and I ask them, did your life get any better? Are you in a good place? And across the board, I've never heard any of them tell me that their life got better. And so the rule here is that if you do not jump in on opportunities, your life is not ever going to magically transform, and all of a sudden you'll find yourself doing the things that you wanted to do. Now, the cool part is when you start moving from an indecisive person to a decisive person, it changes your brain. It changes the way we process in our brain. We become opportunity oriented instead of decision oriented, because to us taking decisions comes very naturally. And so even if the decisions don't work out, we don't regret, we don't suffer, we don't mull over them, we just move on and we see more and more opportunities. Essentially, we retrain our brain to go from avoiding losses to scanning for opportunities. And that in itself, combined with the power of being highly decisive, is what allowed me to get hired by other companies for more leadership roles. They said, we need someone who is able to take a decision when they need to take a decision. We don't want people to sit on things and wait on things until the opportunities go by. That's what led to my entire career as an exponential growth consultant, because exponential growth comes by being opportunity oriented and focusing on going up instead of minimizing losses. The third habit might sound like a no-brainer to you, but not for the reasons you think. And this is being punctual and holding yourself accountable to your calendar or your schedule. Now, let me explain. I used to be a latecomer in my early 20s, and I realized that the reason I was running late to so many things was that in the background, I was telling myself a story that I'm a victim, I'm struggling with this, that, and the other, I don't have things going right for me, and it was making me feel sorry for myself. It wasn't doing just that. It made me lose respect for myself, it made me lose respect for my time, and then it made other people lose their respect for me. Because remember, people only respect us as much as we respect ourselves. And if we don't respect ourselves, and if we don't respect our time, if we don't respect the food we put in our bodies, if we don't respect the word that we give to people, other people will also not respect us. They will literally mimic the way we feel about ourselves towards us. Now, when I started making an effort to stick to my commitments, to stick to my calendar, the first thing it changed was the way I saw myself. The first thing it changed was the standard I held to myself. And I moved from being a victim looking at all the horrible things in life and how things weren't going for me to a complete winner, where I was like, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. So not only did it from a tactical point of view fit a lot of things into my calendar and my ability to achieve more, it changed my confidence in my own self, in being able to show up, in having the standard, in respecting myself enough, in having the right boundaries. And it dramatically changed my career. Learning to invest in yourself instead of investing in other things to make you money. Investing in yourself to acquire a skill that allows you to use that skill in any other industry or any other walk of life that you work in. So let me break this down. There's two types of people. The first type, the majority, are taught that you are worthless. You are not smart enough. You're not capable enough. You're not good enough. So you better find something to make you money. And so people go around looking for opportunities. It could be crypto, it could be stock, or even industries that they think are growing. And if they jump in, the growth will just carry them towards their success. And then the other type of people are the ones who see themselves as the vehicle for success. And so they keep investing in themselves to acquire high income skills, high net worth skills that allow them to stack one skill on top of the other until they can just enter any industry, even a failing industry, make it go up. Now, once I learned this, I developed a reputation as someone who can turn businesses around. Businesses that were previously thought to be obsolete, defunct, dead, I was able to revive them, resuscitate them, and make them profitable. But this required a lot of work on my part. I too, like everybody else, was taught that I'm not good enough. And I too was taught to be a good boy, keep my head down, work hard, not upset anyone, and just keep working for a company and eventually make some money and retire and then live off of that money. And so I too was of the opinion of looking for things and being like, it will make me money, instead of I will make it money. And so it was very hard for me. I still remember the first time I invested in myself. I bought a coaching program for a couple of $1,000s. I was really, really afraid. I was very apprehensive. I was like, I've never spent so much money on myself. I hope this works out, etc., etc., etc. Fast forward a couple of years later, I've invested more than 6 figures into myself, into acquiring new skills, and I continue to do it every single day. At any given point in time, I am in 2, sometimes even 3 coaching containers with my mentors, with my coaches, teaching me, helping me amplify different aspects of my mindset, my business, my health, and it just continues to pay off. But the first step was really hard. The reason why it's hard is because we don't inherently believe in ourselves. We don't inherently trust ourselves to deliver. And so it requires a tremendous amount of belief in oneself to know that you will make the investment, acquire the skill, deploy the skill, and it will be successful. But once this habit is acquired, you will never need to work for anyone ever again. You can charge the highest price you want, you can deliver services, you can live the life that you've dreamt of. And so this brings us to the last habit, which is regularly taking time out from life to disconnect, zoom out, and look at the direction that our life is headed and observe if we're achieving the goals that we set out to achieve or not, and if not, course correct the trajectory of our life. Now, the problem with this is that most people on the planet are too busy morning to night to even think about where they're headed. We're too busy grinding to make ends meet. We're too busy surviving to even think about the bigger picture and see where our life is headed. And if we stay stuck in this rat race for too long, we even disregard the fact that we will ever be able to achieve our dreams. We succumb to the life, we discount ourselves even more, and essentially we give ourselves a death sentence that I need to do this right now, otherwise I'm going to end up on the street, I'm going to end up poor, this is going to happen, that is going to happen, and we completely forget all the dreams that we wanted to achieve, all the big things we wanted to do in life. I see lawyers and investment bankers who are stuck in this rat race because they're charging by the hour, and the more hours they can bill, the more money they can make, but they end up in a job that they absolutely hate, and then they don't know what to do with their life. I see 9-to-5ers working jobs they hate and always thinking and dreaming of starting their own business, but never having the time to actually take steps towards starting that business because their job keeps them so extremely occupied. And then the moment they get home, they just want to disconnect, just do something to replenish the dopamine in their brain, whether it's watching Netflix or playing games or eating junk food. They sleep. In the morning, they wake up, rinse and repeat. And before you know it, 20 years have gone by. And now you're in a job you absolutely hate. You've painted yourself in a corner. You think no one else is going to hire you. And you start giving yourself that death sentence. The same thing happens for relationships. People put up with other people because they're like, well, this is the best I can get. At least this person is doing blah, 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 blah. 20 years go by and now you're in a relationship. Maybe you have children with someone you absolutely cannot stand to see the sight of because you told yourself you're too busy right now and you'll deal with it later. And the problem with deal with it later is that later never comes. Now, I'll be honest with you. I too struggled with this for the longest time. This was the hardest habit for me to inculcate because as a high performer, as an achiever, I too was very bogged down by the day-to-day and doing everything right and hitting certain goals and making a certain amount of money and getting certain positions and titles in my life. I struggled with this for the longest time. I had to schedule it. I had to literally create hard blocks in my calendar. Chunks of time in my calendar first thing in the morning that I would do it, and even then I couldn't do it. But eventually I started doing it once a month. I got around to doing it, and what I noticed was there were a lot of things in my life that I didn't like. I saw bad foods that I was consuming. I saw bad habits that weren't serving me. I saw bad career paths that were fragile, unpredictable, and completely out of my control. And that's when it occurred to me that I needed to make major changes, even though I thought I was doing a great job, even though it appeared like I was relatively successful. In reality, I wasn't. It was just a matter of time before certain things hit me. And that's what actually gave me the clarity to enforce new behaviors. It gave me the clarity to dump bad habits that weren't helping me. Most people think they're unable to quit because they don't have willpower. Most people aren't even clear on what they need to stop doing and what they need to start doing. And they're not clear because they don't give themselves time to be clear. And so when I started doing this, I made some huge strategic decisions in my life and then I executed on them. And then things started to happen faster. I started to do things simultaneously. I changed my health and grew a business to 7 figures at the same time. It was the clarity that helped me. Boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Leave a comment and let me know which habit resonated with you the most. I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.